Good morning. Uh, it is 6 o'clock in the morning here in Angeles City, Philippines. And welcome to the live stream. We certainly appreciate it. We never get a big turnout for these Saturday morning early live streams. Everybody's out Friday night taking care of whatever it is people take care of, uh, enjoying their Friday nights, that's for sure. But as a catch up on the week, on the events, on people that are posting, on events that are happening, on news, on everything else, we enjoy doing these things. Had a great conversation with my mom this morning. She's mostly lucid, I guess is the best word for her. She had a good conversation with my brother, had a good conversation with my daughter. Um, Everything's looking pretty good. Had a bad conversation with my CPA. Uh, not bad as in rude or anything like that, but just bad as in we had a small financial mistake. That's the best word I can say for it. But don't worry, we're not going to be e-begging for money because of that. Uh, shit happens. People make mistakes. I've used the same CPA for 30 years now. And it just happens. So let's say hello. Let's see here. Slick Rick, diesel is averaging $8 a gallon. I just looked at Brent oil crude. It was at 109 a barrel. It's gone up significantly in the past couple of days. It was, as I think a couple of days ago, it was as low as 104. It's gone up. So we'll have to just keep an eye on that, I guess. Top of the morning, Dave, Big Dave. Top of the morning to you and Arlen. Doc, coffee's hot. I'm about to hit the gym. Okay, well, have a good, healthy workout there. Pablo, hola, Slick Ricardo, saying hello to Rick. Good morning, Pablo. ¿Cómo está? Good morning, evening from Southeast Tennessee. Good morning, Heath. Thank you for joining us. People saying hello. Scott, good morning, Mike. Good morning. How are you? How's things going? How's everybody doing? What's going on? So, what have you seen in the news? What have you seen on YouTube? What have you seen locally? Whether you're in the Philippines, whether you're in another country, or whether you're back in the US, what have you seen this week? What is it that has been in the news that you think is informative? Here, we don't talk about Philippine politics, but there's a lot going on. It's not something that's applicable for us to discuss. Number one, then it's not wise for us to stick our nose where it doesn't belong. We are guests here. Let's see here. And by the way, I'm going to try and keep a better eye on my audio monitoring. I apologize for that live stream where we dropped the audio for like 6 minutes. My God. Jeez. Mike, do you believe there's a disconnect between expat bubbles and, let's say, other forms of tourism in the Philippines? Absolutely, I do. I do. And Joe, let me see if make sure I understand your question correctly. Um, there are expat bubbles in locations and areas that have big tourist draws that I consider tourism, like El Nido, Coron, Palawan in general, Bohol, Boracay, you know, Mactan. These are tourist destinations. And then there are expat bubbles. You know, you've got Dumaguete. And Dumaguete is a tourist destination, obviously. Siargao is a tourist destination, obviously. Okay? What these all have in common is that they are tropical. And then we have, say, places like Manila, Makati, BGC, Angeles City. All right, and you know, Arlene and I lived in Makati for a while. It just wasn't my thing. Um, Angeles City, is it a tourist destination? I'm just going to be very blunt about how I feel about that. Is it a tourist destination? Yeah. Is it a huge expat bubble? I think it's probably one of the largest expat bubbles in relation to expats per square mile, I guess is the best way to put it. The expat population in Angeles City is very, very large. Is it a tourist destination? I don't, you know what? I can't say. To me, tourism is something of a family type event, a family type atmosphere. It has things for entire families to do. Angeles City is not like that. I mean, you have this huge bubble of sex tourists that come here. There's no doubt about that. I can tell you right now, I see where we live, there's a storage area where people that check in can store luggage and stuff like that. And I see golf bags that sit there for a week and disappear, never to be seen again. All right? These people that say, oh, I'm coming to play golf because it has excellent golf courses. I've never seen 500 people on, one of these golf courses in a day. I've never seen that kind of stuff. Do we have malls? Yeah. Do we have hospitals? Yeah. Do we have an international airport? Yeah. Do we have restaurants and international cuisine? Yeah. Is it special? No, not in my opinion. It certainly isn't. I mean, there's only maybe a half a dozen restaurants in this town that I consider to be way above average. Okay. And the rest of them, most of them are below average and many are average. So is it really that big of a tourist area? No, I don't think so. It's a party situation. All right. That's just how I feel. But different people have different outlooks on what they consider a tourist type situation. So I think, yes, I think there are definite differences. Definite differences. The live stream is made possible without the use of a YouTube manager. Yeah, no, nobody helps. That's just the way it is. Scoot B, how are you, Scoot? How's the garage coming? Scoot's in the middle of building a garage or outbuilding over in the province. Bruce Cinder down in Florida. How you doing, Bruce? How's things going? Hope you're doing well. Joe says, exactly. So when expats say tourism is down, they're right because they're looking from their viewpoint. When the government says we're getting a rebound, they could be right as well. Well, no, I think tourism is up. I think those numbers are up. Now, are they skewed a little bit? I think it was either the Sociopath or LG came back and was talking about how these numbers are skewed because now they contain OFW, nationals and non-nationals. But at the same time, 90% of the nationals that are coming in are here to visit family. That's tourism as far as I'm concerned. All right. That's just all there is to it. Now, I think, just like just like, say, an example, the Limelight, all right, which at one time for about 4 or 5 years was like the super exclusive, super, gotta do it nightclub in New York City. All right. But it wore its welcome out. Okay. Well, locations wear their welcome out. Boracay no longer, as far as I know, is no longer on the top 10 list of tropical beaches on Condé Nast. They've worn it out. And we have friends that have been to Boracay just recently, and they tell you, oh yeah, it's busy, 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 busy. Okay, very crowded, very busy. But it's mostly Asians. And I think tourism in general may very well be a byproduct of cheaper flights. It's cheaper for Chinese and Koreans and everybody else to come to the Philippines than it is for them to go to the US or to the EU. So I don't know. I think it's a mixed bag. All right. Mango and Cash. How you doing, Mango and Cash? Really avoid most YouTubers in the Philippines. It's got to the point it's nothing but people regurgitating topics over and over. It's drama or it's drama. Most of them absolutely no creative ideas of their own. Yeah. I mean, coming up with creative ideas that have not been covered is probably impossible. Coming up with ideas that are related to rules and regulations that change, yeah. So, I mean, none of our friends, I honestly, other than like vloggers that show up and drop in at breakfast, we don't associate with other bloggers. We don't associate with we don't do that. All of our friends are non-vloggers, and many of them don't even watch YouTube. Do you still do your bar hop on Red Street? I haven't seen one for a while. Also, why did you stop your live stream from Tequila Reef? That was real live strolling, very interesting views. LG, two things. We have a group that goes out to dinner every week. That group can be anywhere between 4 of us, all right, and 8 of us. This is a core group of people that we've been friends with for years and years. And on occasion, they may want to go to Red Street. On occasion, they may want to go out to dinner after margaritas and Mexican food, or whether we go to the Marriott for dinner or wherever. So we'll go to Red Street, or we'll go to a live music venue or whatever. So yeah, we still do that, but at the same time, I'm just not the kind of person that wants to stick my camera in people's faces, number one. And these are our friends, and it's part of their private life. Not that they're doing anything wrong or anything like that. As far as Tequila Reef goes, I enjoyed doing live streams from Tequila Reef. The problem is that, number one, it gets hot. Number two, I was running 2 cameras most of the time, and my laptop, and there's no access to electricity. It was a technically difficult thing to do. And then number 3, it kind of got in the way of the conversations that I would have with other people. It got in the way. And so I just quit doing it. It wasn't worth the hassle. And I don't think it brought a lot to it. There are other channels if you want to see people strolling down the streets or people doing walkabouts. That's their thing. And so, sure. Eaton Beaver. Good morning, Eaton Beaver. Come on, Mike. Philly's Bar is fun for the whole family. Half-price cupcakes on Sunday for kids. It might very well be, but I don't consider Philly's to be a tourist destination for the family. Heath says, yeah, golf course is the business trip. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of South Koreans that come here to golf. There are, okay? And for them, flying in on, like, one of the things to keep in mind is the guy behind Han Casinos, which is also the builder of what's going to be the first. You have to remember, there's the PGA and then there's the PGA. So you have the PGA golf that you're used to in the United States and worldwide. All right. And then you have the PGA, the Philippine Golf Association. Not to be confused with some, oh, wow, 17 minutes and my first thumbs down. Somebody's up early, all right, or up late, whichever one. So anyways, the first PGA, Pro Golf Association, certified teaching center and course, which is actually going to have, I think, 2 18-hole courses, is being built currently by the guy that owns Han Casinos. He is a billionaire out of South Korea. He owns a ton of golf courses in South Korea as well. And they're great, I'm sure. Okay? But the level currently, not so much. But there are a lot of people that do come here to golf. All right? And then they work in some obviously other things, just like they would anywhere else. Mango and Cash. We used to live next to a golf course in Subalu Negros outside of Dumaguete City. Passed it every day. I've actually never seen anybody golfing there. Yeah, there you go. Mango's got an absolute perfect example. Hit the like button, folks. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Mango, I've seen where they add in the OFW coming in. Yeah, they used to keep 2 separate lines. They used to keep nationals separate from, I've never seen where it was just OFWs. I've never seen where it was just nationals that were living overseas versus nationals that were working overseas. But they used to have a line that was going to be nationals and then non-national totals, okay? This year in 2026, since everything is going through e-travel now, it's all combined. So it doesn't matter. The only other way around that is diplomatic and work visas. So if you're on a diplomatic visa, you don't get counted. And if you're on a work visa, you don't get counted. Joe, I know a lot of couples that work in healthcare in the U.S. and when they go back to the Philippines, they go back to their home and they also take their family back home. Yeah. And it's tourism, Joe. I mean, that, Joe points it out. Exactly. That's tourism. Scoot says the build's almost finished. The roof and the roll-up door go in next week. Just waiting for the 25K W solar package. There you go. Scoot's got it up. 9 weeks to get the 80-meter garage done. Yeah, it's a big garage. You're going to have you're going to have a really nice sized workshop, Scoot. That's going to be good. Mango, Eden Beaver. I just pointed out where she's so full of of it. She claimed I said on Mike's Live you can get a promissory note for medical claims. I said we do on our daughter, which is a lie. You can get. I have seen where you can get a promissory note for a portion. All right, I've seen that happen, but it's usually a very small amount. Scoot, last week I actually saw an expat in the mall here last week. First one I'd seen in over a month. Yeah. Now, Scoot, you're down in Mindanao, aren't you? If I remember correctly. Mango, because I never said that they won't give us a promissory note, even for our 2-year-old severe disabled. I never said that. I said they won't give us a promissory note. Okay, so Paul, good morning, Paul. Okay, what is your weight loss secret? And for God's sakes, man, do not say eat less and exercise more. You know what? It's not a magic elixir or pill or anything like that. Quite honestly, I think the biggest success I've had is to cut my carbs way down. And every meal that I get, I only eat half of. Arlene is real. I don't know why, but Arlene wants to serve me portions that are huge. And I love food, so I eat it. You know, I'm a good boy. I finish my meal. All right. So I'm only, you know, it's a slow, arduous process. Nothing special. Eating Beaver, you treat YouTube as a hobby. Post when you want, what you want. Makes it interesting. Others forcing 3-4. You know what, Beaver? I can't fault others for what they do. You know, they treat YouTube the way they want to treat it for what works for them, for, you know, all of those different things. I'm just saying that I agree that if you can come up with an honest video that's creative, that hasn't been done. I mean, you know, there's been every relationship video under the sun done. There's been every expense video under the sun done. There's been every budget video under the sun done. You know, you know, I guess you can come up with hotel rooms that have never been viewed, but that's just not our thing. I don't know. I think creative videos are difficult to come by, but I don't fault anybody for doing them because, you know, people do have different opinions. And those opinions, I think, matter. I think, you know, most everybody here recognizes that we value the opinions of the people that watch our channel, that view our channel, that subscribe to our channel, that, you know, participate. We value everybody's opinion. Just because we don't agree with it doesn't really matter. McLovin, good morning, McLovin. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, he says I was taught that way to finish what's put in front of you for dinner. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, so I've cut a lot of it back. But you know, over the first 2 months, is when I saw, you know, the first 20 pounds drop off. And since then, it's been very slow. So I wish I could do better. Mango and Cash. She claims to be this truthful investigator, yet said I'm an old expat who flies in and goes home, yet I've been here 5 years straight with a 3-year-old daughter born here. That's great investigation. You know, I don't want to get deep into Heidi. I think a lot of people maybe misunderstood part of my live stream with her. My live stream with her had nothing to do with her past, Georgia's past, present, any of that, what they've done, what they haven't done, or anything. My only thing was, is she sick or is it a scam? And I think, quite frankly, it was well proven that she's sick. Now, to the extent of what her physicians tell her, if you're not there, it's hard to say. So, but that's not what it was about. That's just not what it was about. So, we just leave it at that. Let's see here. What else is going on? I'm really interested. I can't figure out why Brent crude oil has spiked up to 109 almost overnight, from 104 the day before, a day and a half before. I'm looking at all the shit that's going on in the U.S. I'm trying to understand British, UK, England politics to try and get a formulation of it. And I recognize I just don't know enough about it. I don't even, I don't know enough. All I know is that England currently has a problem with the fact that they opened their borders. They let everybody practically in. All right. They had very little restrictions, and they opened up their public system and assistance, and it has made some problems, some significant problems. Mango, it's the way you handle people who don't agree with you or disagree with you that's key to a great channel. We can all have honest conversations without cursing each other out. Yeah, we can. We can. And I can't say I'm perfect when it comes to that. I've had little outbursts. I've had times when people got underneath my skin. All right. That has happened. But yeah, there's no doubt. I think we're all adults, and we should all be able to have the ability to agree to disagree in a reasonable way. Rick, infrastructure not that good in the PI. Thailand and Vietnam is the best. Yeah, Rick, I can't disagree with that for some things. Okay, transportation. All right, but I mean, we've been going to Thailand for years and years. Hold on. Okay. I just got a message on my phone. I have it turned on this morning too, making sure it's not a problem with the live stream. So anyways, we've been going to Thailand for years and years, and transportation is better in the tourist area. The tourist areas and the rural areas are much different from each other. One of the things that I would say is that, it can be as dirty in certain areas as other areas in the Philippines. It can be a lot of other things, but you know what? Thailand is making major changes in their visa system. They're making some big changes in that. So, Mango, most all Europe did the same. People are really regretting it. Yeah, I don't know enough, but I want to learn more. I want to try and understand it more. I want to understand more of the British and UK political system and the trials and tribulations that they go through there. I'm trying to understand how this week, why two Chinese stocks went from cents to $11, and 22 and then drop back to cents. The SEC needs to get a handle on that manipulation. You know what? I couldn't even begin to tell you, Beaver. I really and truly could not. Mike, do you think the new train is going to open up a commuter job market here like in the States? I think it will, but you know what, McLevin? I think sometimes we have to understand what is their definition of commuter. Um, Literally, we know Filipinos who come here, work Monday through Friday or Sunday through Saturday, and go home on the weekend. Their commute is a week-long commute. Are we going to see a lot of people commuting from, say, here into BGC or Makati or vice versa? I don't think we'll see a huge amount. There will be some. I mean, there are people that commute by bus daily down to Manila. So it's possible. I think we'll just have to wait and see what it comes to be honest with you. I don't know, McLovin. You tell me. I've only been to Vietnam. I can say in the metro city area, definitely better transportation, way better than PH. Food definitely blows the Philippines away. Traffic was brutal there. People were very nice. Yeah. I've been to Cambodia. I've never, I've only passed through Vietnam. I've been to Cambodia years and years ago. And, infrastructure, the Philippines has got to work on it. It honestly does. There are things that just simply have to be done to make it different. There are things that have to be improved upon to make it a world-class tourist destination. I think I had gotten a couple comments about the percentage of that tourism represents, 20% of the GDP. Well, keep in mind, it's not that difficult to have tourism be 20% of GDP when you're measuring GDP and GDP happens to be a low number. And the Philippines is a poor country. So therefore, everything gets imported. This is not like Cambodia or Vietnam or Thailand. You can't truck stuff in from other countries. All right. You just can't do that here. It has to be shipped in or airlifted in. So, the GDP and out, all right, the GDP here is low in comparison to those other countries. So any amount of tourism is going to have a impact. Best way I can say it. Clark to Manila, 45 minutes. Wow. I don't believe that when I see it, McLovin. That's what they say. All right. But that's going to have to be like one or two a day, because those are going to be the express trains, and they're not going to stop at the 17 stops. There are 17 stations between Clark and the terminus point in Manila. So obviously, you're going to have your regular route, then you're going to have the express train. And how successful that's going to be, I'm not sure, but we'll see. I wish it the best of success. Thailand's a wonderful place, but they just want tourists not really interested in expats living there. Thus, the constant visa change. The Philippines behind in infrastructure, but welcoming. Yeah, and what do you think? Let me ask you this. Do you think the Philippines is ever going to crack down? I can't think of a better word. will the Philippines ever change this 3 years of being a tourist? Or will they change those visa regulations? And why? And do you think it's good or bad? I mean, all obviously, there's huge benefits in it right now. So we'll see. But tell me what you think about that. McLevin, I also saw the Swiss Hotel is building a 55-acre resort on Clark and a new mall bigger than SM. Yep, absolutely. Now, I didn't know that the new mall that they're building outside of the airport, the one that's on the access, that access area, was bigger than SM Clark. But I know that they're building one. When will it get finished? 2150. Well, your guess is as good as mine, Mango. Your guess is as good as mine. Scoot. And yeah, I'm in Bukidnon, Mindanao, about 30 minutes from the city center on a bad day. Yeah. I thought I was pretty sure I remembered you were in Mindanao. Mike, when we stay in our condo there, Don J, when we stay in our condo there, I walk on Clark daily and notice the insane amount of motorcycle traffic in the morning. Have you seen any evidence of the gas prices there impacting traffic? No, I have not. You know, that's, again, I don't count cars. I don't look around. I don't see anything, that I could measure it by. But I can tell you, it still takes us about the same amount of time. Traffic still seems relatively same. No big deal. But, we're not on the back streets and we don't see it. Clark has a big employment situation, so you see a lot of commuter traffic there, and people have got to get in. So I don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not so. I guess that's the best word I can say. Whoops, let me get back here. I skipped one. What I saw in Thailand is you can get by in the tourist areas with English, but go to a city of 400,000 smaller, not speak Thai. Yeah, we use Google Translate a lot when we are in Thailand, even in the tourist areas. McLovin, so the train will have a few express runs and the rest milk runs every stop. Yeah, and I think that's because they're going to use the train, which they should, for the transportation of goods as well as people. We're going to see goods moving as well as people. Mango and Gash. One thing that could change Philippines overnight is to drop that 60-40 ownership law for businesses. That alone would bring in big corporate companies that would shape the country. Yeah, and there are some ways like if you fit into the 2022 Foreign Investment Act, you can go around that. You can have 100% ownership of a corporation, but it's in specific ways at specific investments. It's complicated, and limited. But yeah, it could. But they don't want to give their country away to foreign powers. They don't want that. Eaton Beaver. I believe they would rather keep it status quo. However, if these homeless foreigners, troublemakers, continue to increase, they'll be forced to change. Yeah, and that is something I see a difference in. 7 years ago, homeless expats here in Angeles City were virtually unknown. Now we know a couple locations where there's a couple of homeless guys begging all the time. You see YouTube videos about it. You see all kinds of stuff. Sunset Travel. Good morning, looking sharp. Good morning, Sunset. How you doing? Tim Deziak in the room. Good morning, Tim. Scoot B, the only gas price issue I have seen is when diesel spiked and the jeepney drivers parked their rigs. Trike guys, I know a couple complain now that they lost about 40% of their profit a day. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be hurting all of those transportation services. It's got to be impacting them. But I still see them out there doing it. I don't see any less trikes at the trikes place down the street. I don't see any less jeepneys moving around. So they're there. You did a great video on how to skirt the foreign ownership. It's not skirting it though, Don J. It's not skirting it. That's the law. They provide for that. And it is restricted. It is not always cheap. It is in certain categories. And there are other methodologies. But, to each their own. And we'll tell you what we said, and that was get a lawyer. Get a lawyer that knows what they're talking about. Scoot, people forgot that when they did have free corporate investment PI, they got martial law and the first Marco. Yeah. I don't know, Scoot. That was before my time. I never looked at that. Mango and Cash. Sometimes you have to, when your government can't do it, like in energy and power. You can't call yourself a developing country when you have gone backwards in the past decade, yet all others have gone forward. I guess that's pretty much, status quo. I mean, that kind of applies all the way across the board. Ugly tourist, prices for trikes and grabs have not increased. No. And James, the Ugly Tourist, for those of you that haven't seen his channel, give him a watch. James and his beautiful wife Ding and their cute little kid, little samurai. All right. James is going to give you a different perspective, a whole different type of outlook, a little bit of fun, a little bit of satire. It's worth giving his channel a look. That's for sure. And good morning, James. I hope you and Ding and Samurai are doing well. Z-Man. Good morning, Paul. There's been less traffic on the NLEX. Tim, I haven't been on the NLEX this month, come to think about it. We haven't. We do have to make a run down to San Fernando, but that's only about, 10, 12 miles of NLEX. So I wouldn't be able to give you a good answer to that. Now, next month, that's going to change. My daughter gets here next month, so we'll be making several trips to Manila and be on the NLEX for that. Eden Beaver saw a foreigner opening the 7-Eleven across from Lips on Burgos, 20 years visiting, never saw. Yeah, we have a homeless foreigner expat that is the door guy, opening it for tips at the 7-Eleven on Fields Avenue over by South Star. McLovin, well, I've been crunching the numbers and I would stupid not to become your neighbor and buy condo, because if I rent for 6.5 years, I basically have paid for the condo, so I may as well buy one. Well, you know what? We love to have good neighbors, McLovin. All right. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if there are any units for sale here at Palace. There might be. Seems like there's always something. There's always something for sale. I think White Tower has a couple of people that bought pre-construction and they're ready to flip them. But who knows? You have to know how to work with the corporate laws, and you're 1,000% correct. Get a great lawyer and consult the second one. Yeah, absolutely. Tim, seems like there's an impact, even if anecdotal. Yeah, I think there's an impact. I think there is. Um, Scoot B, mine is great, and I've never had an issue in the 20 plus years working with him. You may want to share his name. You guys can email Scoot, and maybe he can give you some recommendations. Um, let's see, Eden Beaver. I did extensive research in Grab, purchasing cars, drivers, etc. The margins are razor thin. I would imagine they are. I mean, I can literally get a Grab car from here to SM cheaper than a trike. I can get a Grab car for about 40 pesos more from here to Tequila Reef. We'll take a Grab. Oftentimes, we use a Grab when we go out for dinner on Fridays and Saturday nights. Those, if we go out on the weekend, because we don't want to deal with parking, and I don't want to deal with fighting for another parking space in the garage, because people come here for dinner and they fill up the underground parking. And then it takes me 3 days of hit and miss for a space to be open below. McLevin, I bought Don J. McLevin. I bought a WT, I guess White Tower last January. See Sunny, yeah, that would have been White Tower. There were also available units in Palace. Yeah, there's always people looking to flip units, I think. Grab is definitely the way to go. I don't think I ever paid more than 500 pesos with tip anywhere I wanted to go. No, we can do a Grab from our front door to from our front door to Clark for 500 pesos. And then we throw in 100 peso tip. So, um, but we have a regular driver that we use most of the time. And when he's available, we'll use him before we use Grab. But he drives for Grab and his private customers. But sometimes you just don't feel like fighting for parking. And then you're going to pay somebody to direct you in and then direct you out. And I don't know. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. Mango and Cash. I bet an NFL football sized cockfighting stadium would make a fortune here in the Philippines, man. They are. There is a large arena halfway between Kitchenerau, where our house is in the province, halfway between Kitchenerau and Butuan. And there are hundreds and hundreds of cars parked there on a Saturday afternoon. Sunset saying good morning to the ugly tourists. Scoot, I ran an experiment in Davao, getting from the condo to the airport, took a taxi to the airport and a Grab back. The Grab was actually about 60 pesos more. Yeah. I can't help but think that their margins are cheaper. A lot of Grab drivers get OFW money to finance the car, but these guys got to drive 12. Yeah. I know that we have a driver that we use a lot. Not a lot, but he's what we generally, if we're going to, we'll try and use him. Okay. And that guy works 12 hours a day and he will go anywhere. He'll take Arlen to the airport in Manila. He'll, do whatever. Um, because if Arlen's going to fly down and see her parents down to Kitchener, she prefers to fly out of Manila. And I hate Manila. So it's kind of like, hey, you know what? And it used to be you could park at Manila for like $3 a day. And then now it's like $25 a day. So, if you were going to go down there and you were going to fly down, like Arlen would go down there, go spend a week with her family, come back, and it's like a $20, $25 parking fee. Now it's like, $150 parking fee. So it's just as cheap to have a driver. Mike, if you know any freelance cleaners, I'm hiring today. I do not. But you know what? If you show up at breakfast, there's two guys that come pretty regular to breakfast, and both of them have cleaners. Here, Arlen cleans our place, and cleaning general housekeeping is a part of our association fee. I can have cleaners in my place every day. They will dust, sweep, mop, do the dishes, toilets, sinks, they'll clean everything. All right. They're not going to move stuff on my desk or anything like that, but they'll do all of that, put fresh sheets on the bed. Um, they'll do all of that, but it's part of, we pay for that service. Now, we generally never use them. Arlen and I both really don't care to have other people, moving around in the condo, moving stuff and doing stuff and everything, and they do a good job. But but once in a while we'll use them to maybe we're going to have friends over for dinner, and Arlen's like, okay, you know what? Let's get the cleaners in, and then after they're done, I'll clean again. All right. And then, so it's kind of like Arlen will clean before the cleaners get here. Then the cleaners clean. And then after the cleaners are done, Arlen will go around and spot clean other stuff. All right. So we give them a little tip, and that's it. Pre-grab was a nightmare, especially in Manila. Constant problem, 50% decrease in my heart attack risk. Pre-grab. Yeah, I can remember those days, Beaver. I can remember when the only way you could get around was jeepney, bus, or taxi in Manila. Before there was, or you had a driver. That was the only way you could get around in Makati. And then Grab came around. It took them about a year and a half to get good at it, though. Scoot, they never direct me in or out. I guess they've realized I never pay and ignore them. Who says you can't teach them? McLovin, but I will say the 3 a.m. drunken trike rides are a lot of fun. They can be. If you're willing to sit in that little pocket of the trike and they don't hit so many bumps, you don't toss cookies before you get to your destination. Yeah, that is sure. Scoot, same thing in the market. The beggars see me and run the other way. Scoot's just not well liked, huh? Is that what you're saying, Scoot? Or you're just saying you're not a good target? Scoot, you should try a motorcycle ride at the same time and condition. Oh, no, I'll let somebody sober drive me around. Under 300 pesos with Grab from Clark to Pacific Breeze. Used to be 600 with Blue Taxi. Yeah, Blue Taxi's expensive. They have like this little mafia try to get a grab. You're going to wait for a grab at Clark. So at Clark, they can't wait there. They have to go off. And trying to get a grab at Clark at 11:30 at night when the flight from Thailand, when we fly back from Thailand, that flight lands at like 11 o'clock at night or something like that. I don't know, maybe 1 in the morning. Trying to get a grab is almost impossible. And they have a racket there on the drivers that are there. You guys, if it's not raining and I'm not sick, I'm there on Tuesday and Thursday, Sunset. It'd be great to see you again. I have a few gals that come clean the house for free, but do not tell my wife. Oh, Scoot, you're on a thin line, my friend. Scoot, I saw the option for motorbike on Grab app, but the fear of lice from the shared helmet. Yeah, that would bother me too, McLovin. I really and truly would. I have seen that. I saw the other day, so there's these apartments across the street from us. I saw the other day a girl waiting. I was sitting on the balcony and a scooter comes up. It's obviously a shared ride scooter. I don't know, Grab, Maximum, whatever it is, right? And she took out almost like a shower cap and put the shower cap on and then put on that shared helmet. So yeah, I have a cleaner. She comes once a month. There you go. Pablo's got one. Let me say here, I sort of lost my place. Just a second. Let me scroll until. There you go. If you remember, Uber was there for a bit. That would make it. You know what? I do remember Uber. Absolutely. When I first, not when I first, but during the 2016, 2015, something like that time frame, you could do Uber here before they chased them out. But not up here in Clark. You could do, not up here in Angeles, but you could do Uber in Manila. Helmet at 3 a.m. Here, you'd be lucky if they had any working lights on the bike. That could be a problem. I didn't know Uber was in the Philippines at one time. Yeah, Pablo. I want to, might have been 2014, but somewhere around in there, Uber was here before Grab. And then Grab came in right after Uber. And then they started having these discussions. And finally, I don't know exactly what happened, but I think the government just kind of said, no more Uber. That's what best I remember. Friend of mine in London wants out in the worst sort of way. Headed to Australia when his daughter graduates from high school. Labor government. Yeah, I don't. And so, Don, I don't know. I want to know more about British, UK politics. I want to understand it. I want to know, where certain parties, who supports what. Because we have British friends here, and they tell us that that the social safety net there is being incredibly abused. So we have a live-in nanny who's excellent with our daughter who's disabled. She asked for 8,000 peso monthly salary. She's so good with her. We pay her 12. She goes everywhere with us. We also pay. Yeah. And you're not the only ones, Mango. I mean, we know other people too that do that. And it's a godsend for them. Not that they have a disabled child, but just that they have somebody that helps them out. McLevin, those motorcycle taxis are nuts. Took it once. Arlene likes taking the motorcycle taxis in Thailand. She is fine to take a motorcycle taxi in Thailand. I won't do it. I won't, but Arlene will, because she likes to go from market to market to market. It's not unusual for Arlene. Sometimes she'll want to go shopping at night, and she'll want to do these night markets. And when she wants to do these night markets, I'm like, you know what, honey, have a great time. Yeah, I'm gonna just relax. Okay? And she'll go to 3 or 4 markets in a night, and she'll go on these motorcycle taxis to get there. If you want real fun, tell the bike driver you'll pay double if you get there fast. I think that's probably maybe a mistake, Scoot. I don't know how much fun that's going to be. Can't afford a cleaner here in the States. Got to do it all myself. Yeah, Heath. So we had a housekeeper that came in once a week in the U.S. And her and her husband and another woman would come in, take them about 5 hours to clean our house. We had a pretty big house. And it was like $125. And that was our weekly. And even then, when Arlene finally moved to the U.S., she cut her way back. We got her like once a month. Okay. George, they have a grab stand at Clark on the right-hand side, right outside the door, less than 5 minutes. Yeah. You know what? But I at 1 a.m, there's nobody in that stand. That's the problem we've come across. Scoot, yeah, it was like 2014, 2015. Uber put a lot of restrictions on Uber, so they pulled it out. My guess had to do with payoff during the elections. Yeah, I don't remember. Eaton Beaver. Uber was apparently accepting too many new drivers against the government cap. If that's true. Yeah, Beaver, I got no idea. It wasn't something I really paid attention to until they weren't available. I used them a couple of times, because my Uber account in the U.S., it was very convenient. They need a no confidence vote to pass to have a national election in the UK. Otherwise, they're stuck with Labour. Yeah, again, I just got to try and figure this out. I see Streetling is, you know what? I can't even, I won't even get the names right. And so I just don't know enough. But I need to understand or try to understand some of it. Uber owns 25% of Grab, which they got when they sold all their Southeast Asia stake to Grab pre-COVID. All right. John, Mike, do you smoke? Oh, terrible question. Unfortunately, yes, I do. I've cut way back, and I'm hoping that this is the year that I quit, but I think I probably say that every year. I doubt Labour government in the UK would be forthcoming with honest numbers on what percentage of welfare goes to supporting illegals. It's huge amounts of people have done. I've seen documentaries on it. If you have driven a motorcycle before, it's difficult to maneuver with a large passenger like most of us. Probably. I had motorcycles in the U.S. All my life, big street bikes. I had when I finally decided that I wasn't going to be able to bounce anymore when I hit the pavement, I want to say this was probably 2013, 14, maybe 15, 2015. I had a Harley Road King, and I had a ultra classic, fully tricked out Harley Ultra Classic Screaming Eagle, stage 3 kit, the whole 9 yards. As for housekeepers, my Filipino wife won't have them in the condo when she's there. When she's in the U.S., I just really need, yeah, that makes sense. Scoot, I quit smoking every night for the past 50 years. It is a filthy, nasty, horrible habit. I don't drink to any excess. All right. There's sometimes we've gone bar hopping and all I've had is soda and water. Okay. But with that being said, I can't, I quit smoking one time for 7 years and then picked it back up again. And it was horrible, but I'm not going to make excuses for it. That's my problem. That's my responsibility. That's just the honest truth. Mike, in addition to anesthesia, I did hypnosis. My clients had excellent results to stop smoking. I tried hypnosis. I tried the patch. I tried nicotine gum. I tried everything. Joe Paul, good for you cutting back. It's been 5 months since I last smoked. Congratulations. Been quitting for years. This time I used Zen. First break the habit, then kick nicotine. It worked for me. I don't know that Zen is legal here. What is Zen? Isn't that like a vape of some sort, or a spray? I'm not familiar with it. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with it. So, given the choice of cigarettes or alcohol, I still miss cigarettes. Yeah, I don't miss alcohol. Alcohol is not something that I need. We have alcohol here in the house that we have, for company and guests and parties and events, and some of it is years old. Heath, quit smoking in October. Now I'm trying to burn off the weight gain. I used the patches. Congratulations, Heath. Congratulations. Scoot, I tried a Harley here, but it sucked going through traffic in the cities. But I get on the open road. It was great. Sold it, bought a Jeepy, and put a turbo V6 in it. Okay. Yeah. Well, I lived in Arizona, all right, and Texas, and those are wide open roads. My Ultra Classic was a bit big for like scooting around Phoenix, but the Road King was fine. And then on the open road, when we would do these runs to Vegas or Laughlin or down to Mexico or out to Pacific Coast Highway, we do these runs, and the Ultra Classic was just perfect for that. Joe Bond, nicotine patches. Nicotine's like caffeine when you aren't adding 10,000 other chemicals when you combust a cigarette. Okay. All right. So it's kind of like what they call dip. It's a little pouch and you put it between your cheek and your gum. Is that, I guess, maybe what it is? I don't know. Contrary to popular belief, when I don't know something, I don't have a hard time saying, I just don't know. I don't have the answer. Okay? And that frequently happens. It frequently happens. So, we try and present subject matter that we're able to converse on, that we're willing to admit we're not an authority on, that we're willing to say we don't have all the answers. I mean, we're not going to do videos on Campo and on what it's like to date a Filipina and where to find the perfect Filipina and how to have the perfect relationship. We're not going to do those because, number one, how would we know? I'm married to a Filipina. All right. I brought my wife to the U.S. I'm very happily married, but every Filipina is different. They all may have some common traits, but it's, just like Tampo. I don't believe in Tampo. I just don't believe in it. Everybody needs a little bit of my space, a little personal space once in a while. So I don't think that's any different. Okay. But, if you're going to have a woman that shuts you down and don't speak to you for an entire day or something like that, and isn't willing to communicate and talk to you about it, and she's too stupid to understand, or you're too stupid to be able to communicate, all right? There's so many factors there, so many different things. So we don't do that shit. We don't do those kinds. My German heritage says I need a beer before bed, so I have one. Question: if the glass is refilled before it is empty, does not count as the first glass. There you go, Scoot. As long as you never let it go empty and you just keep topping it off, well, it's just one glass. Yes, exactly, but no tobacco in them. Okay, I might look into that, Joe Paul. Thank you. Z-Man, I live in Rockwell, Texas, about 25 miles from Dallas. Where'd you live in Texas? I lived in Houston, Texas, down there. That's where I did, I was doing a fellowship at a hospital down in Houston. I had a house out in Champions Forest for a while, and then I got rid of that and had a house up in the Woodlands. So right in Spring, Texas, right outside of Houston. You mentioned Laughlin, heading there Sunday to most likely make a donation. We used to go to Laughlin probably twice a year. It could be fun. It really could. But we preferred Vegas. Scoot, hello. That counts as one beer. See, Tim Desiak agrees. Says, Mike, do you remember Philly's friend in Manila that did motorcycle vlogs? Had a ninja, got married. I'm thinking, maybe you're talking about Philo. Philo had, the only two that I can think of offhand would have been Philo in the Philippines and CJ abroad. Both of them were motorcycle enthusiasts, or they liked motorcycle. And then there was another guy, but I don't think he actually had a YouTube channel. But those are the only two I can think of, Beaver. Scoot B, I've quit for months and even 2 years. One day the urge hits and I have one. Next day I buy a pack. Exactly. And that's exactly what happened to me. So what happened was I was down in the Sea of Cortez. So from Phoenix to Puerto Penasco, Mexico was a 3.5 hour drive. And I kept an offshore boat in Puerto Penasco, and we have a condo there. All right, so that's in the Sea of Cortez or the Gulf of Mexico, depending on which map you look at. I had some other fishing buddies down there. And one day I had my buddy said, oh, no, let's take my boat today. So we're in his boat, and nice boat, nice, 28 foot or so, 30-foot cat. We're 40 miles offshore. deep in, and we're fishing in what place that we call the hole. So the water from one side of the Sea of Cortez to the other up north where we were averaged about 85 feet to 110 feet, except this one spot. There was a hole, and it would drop down to about 285 feet. And we would catch these monster 150, 200-pound broomtail grouper. And we would donate them to the orphanage in Puerto Penasco. So we take a couple fillets off, but the rest of it would go to the orphanage. And we're out, and we decide instead, we've already caught what we're going to catch. Let's troll for sailfish. All right? It's marlin sailfish season. We're at the tip of the canyons. All right, so the canyons run like north-south. We're at the very end of them. Okay? So let's troll some of the canyons. And it's a hot, hot summer day. The water's flat. I mean, it's just boring as everything. And I asked my buddy for a cigarette. I was just bored. So I said, let me have a cigarette. After 7 years, that's how I started again. And it was terrible. My wife came to me one day asking if I had noticed she hadn't spoken to me in 3 days. And I said, yeah. She answered, what do you think about that? And I asked, 3 more days? I don't know how you do it, Scoot. I don't. That's all I can say. Doctor took me off lisinopril 10 days ago and off Jardiance today. They said it was due to Ozempic and quitting smoking. Urea dropped 195. Wow. So you've lost weight as well on the Ozempic? I would take it. That's what I would think. And your urea dropped from 195 to 27. That's big. Don says, I live in Vegas. Need a change. Vegas is a great place to visit. Don, we used to go there quite often. I would say 7 to 10 times a year. I used to actually, sometimes I would take my daughter there for a daddy-daughter weekend. If you, since you live in Vegas, you're familiar with the Strip, Bally's Casino. So, they have the overhead walkway over to the Bellagio and Caesars and all that right there. And they have that wall. My daughter and I would get ice cream, sit on that wall, and just watch the street performers nonstop. Now, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that they screwed all that up a couple years ago when they redid everything for the Formula One race that was in town. I don't know. No, not Philo, no. So if it wasn't Philo, it might have been CJ Abroad. Younger guy. That probably was CJ Abroad. And I haven't seen him post anything in several months. Scoot, I still have a house in Mesa still and one in Arkansas. I'll go back in July for a couple of months to visit the parents. Yep, I know Mesa. Part of the greater Phoenix metro area. Scoot B, that was my cycle for years, trying to quit. Scoot, this is just a vacuum, but I still kept smoking. Didn't work out well. I would think of. Is Ozempic actually safe? You know what? I don't know. I've never looked hard at it. I imagine you would need somebody to evaluate your current clinical situation. I imagine you would have to follow up with some blood work, but it seems to work for there are millions of people on it. The motorcycle guy in Manila you might be thinking of that had a Ninja was Joseph. I think he moved back to the USA with his Philippine. I don't know. Lex, maybe so. I didn't know. I don't know. Heath, last time I was in Vegas, the Luxor was brand new. My God, that was what, 30 years ago? It's pretty run down last time we were in it. Well, my theory in life is summed up that old saying, do I look like I care what you think? I'm just trying to figure out where to hide the body. Joseph My Life is the channel. There you go. Okay. I don't know him. What you heard is true. Bally's is now. Yeah. We used to love to go sit on that little wall. We would be in the Bellagio as you enter, as you take that walkway across, you enter into, I can't remember whether it was the Bellagio or Caesars. I think it was the Caesars. You enter in, and there's a lot of shops, and they had some great gelato place, and we'd get some gelato, go back out, walk across the walkway, walk downstairs, and then sit on that balcony. And my daughter just got the biggest kick out of watching all the street performers and degenerates, unfortunately. You know, you can't have perfect people all the time. Let's see here. Joe says, I'm dosing for diabetes, not weight loss, but I did lose 23 pounds. I went from size 36 with Levi's to a size 30. Wow, 6 inches. I have PAD as well. Couldn't walk to the mailbox and back. Now I can do a mile. Nice. Peripheral or PAD, for those of you that don't know, is peripheral artery disease. I know exactly where you're coming from there, Joe Paul. Bally's is now the horseshoe. When you live here, you tend to avoid. Bally's is now the horseshoe? Really? Wow. I learned how to play craps at Bally's. There was a guy, Mike, in Behold. I think he did motor vids until he died a few. Yeah. I'm not a big moto video watcher, but I know a lot of people are. Lex, thanks. That was him. See, this is where subscribers, viewers, watchers, they all help each other. That's what makes our channel fun. Ozempic is a miracle drug. I'm going to eat a piece of chantilly cake and my blood sugar won't spike. Nice. Nice. Philly in the Philippines. They were just talking about you, Brian. Good morning, Mike. Lake Mead, pretty good at hiding bodies. Just go deeper. Yeah. And Lake Mead gets deep, my friends. Very, very deep. Because those are canyons that have been, when they built the dam, it flooded from, well, that's Powell I'm thinking about. But still, Lake Mead's got some deep spots too. Scoot. Todd M. I never made it to Vegas yet. I hang out in the Southeast. It's okay. It's not that big a deal. You know what, Todd? There's plenty of great places in the Southeast. Okay? You've got Myrtle Beach. You've got North Beach. You've got Miami Beach. You've got Fort Lauderdale. You've got Tampa. You've got Destin. You've got all kinds of great beach destinations. All right? You know, you can always go to New Orleans for gambling if you want. That'll get you all the sin and debauchery and gambling you can handle. You know, you've got great restaurants. The Southeast is great, Todd. Good morning. Good mornings. Scoot. Vegas used to be great when the wise guys ran it before it turned into a tourist trap it is today. Even as a tourist trap, it was fun. You just had to have money. I thought the horseshoe is now Binion's. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody would have to look. Is Bally's Casino still on the strip? Somebody needs to Google that. If a perfectly safe weight loss drug enters the market, it'll be the biggest thing in healthcare. Yeah, I don't think any drug is perfectly safe. Let's face it. Okay. Um, your body is an incredibly complex piece of biomedical engineering. All right. And everything has different effects. Eating beaver. I was just trying to remember Joseph and his crazy ninja motorcycle vlogs, anxiety inducing. There you go. They were talking about you. Roosevelt Lake is better. Don't ask how I know, but pro tip: drop them near the dam. They have a 10 megawatt. They have 10 megawatt grinders. Roosevelt's a nice lake. I've been there. We used to keep a boat out on Pleasant. Yeah, lots of places to visit, but only Vegas is home to the Pinball Hall of Fame. The Pinball Hall of Fame. I can't say I've ever been there. I wish I could, but I can't. But you know what? I used to like pinball. At one point in time. I mean, as a young kid or whatever. I was never. It's fun. All of those things are fun. You know? I mean, they really are. So let me minimize that. Sorry. Ozempic is not good, Sunset says. Yeah, I don't know. I've never researched it. Bally's is now the horseshoe, really. Binion's is still Binion's. Okay. That's a landmark. I mean, was one of the first mega casinos. Um, you know, that surprises me. And that's all part of Bally's was part of the Hera Casinos chain. Because I had a player card there. Not that I was a big player or anything, but it is what it is. I see Brian's doing videos on international relations up in Surigao. Things are getting a little testy up there, apparently. Tai Biak, how long have you been living in the Philippines? Okay. So I used to commute. I commuted between the Philippines and the U.S. 3 months in the U.S., 1 month in the Philippines for several years. Then 6 months in the Philippines, 3 months in the U.S., and then full time since 2015. So going on 10 years, 2016. Yeah, full time since 2016. So going on 10 years, full time. Where we're only doing an occasional trip back to the U.S. and it's a vacation more than anything else. So there you go. Philly laughing it off. Now Harris is now part of Cedars. They sold Bally's. Wow. Wow. Yeah, we haven't been to Vegas since 2015. With the exterior still undergoing final changes. Okay. Sunset Drive. Permanent muscle wastage, including your heart muscle, and it's derived from lizard poison. Can't be good. Oh, come on, Sunset. I bet you've had a lot worse in your mouth than lizard poison. All right. I bet half the guys in this chat have drank something worse than lizard poison over the years. The horseshoe owned by Benny Binion was directly across from the Golden Nugget. It became Binion's after the bankruptcy in the 2000s. Steakhouse is still at the top of the casino. And that's a great steakhouse. I've been to that steakhouse. And one time it was one of the top rated steakhouses in Vegas. All right. That still doesn't, the Golden Steer, Joe Pa, that is my favorite steakhouse in the entire U.S. And for those of you that have never been there, you would think you are in a crack neighborhood going into it. It is in a strip center mall, in a slightly run down. I mean, I think it is not in the best location in the world, but that is an old haunt of the Rat Pack, Sammy Davis and Dean Martin and all them. And it is not an inexpensive place at all, but it is the best steakhouse. Arlene and I used to go there almost every trip. There are all these channels showing live slot playing in Vegas. Seems kind of shady. There've been 500 to spend. I guess these people make money, huh? I can't imagine having a YouTube channel that affords me to risk $500 a spin slot machines. I can't imagine. But apparently it does, I mean, my little YouTube channel is just chump change. What can I say? Well, it is. I'm probably the smallest YouTuber in Angeles with the least amount of views. Just shut me down there. I'm just kidding, Sunset. As a sailor, I won't take that bet about having something worse in my mouth. Not at all. Joseph, it's still really good. It's by the old Sahara west of the Strip. Yeah. I just love the Golden Steer. I've had some fantastic meals there. Absolutely fantastic. Scootby, I remember when Wynn lost a casino in a poker game one time when I was in Vegas. News spread through the casinos in minutes. Joe Paul says, try 5,000 a spin. It's insane. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. I really, really can't. And I mean, part of that's probably because I've never been a slot machine player. I've never understood the thrill of it, the excitement of it, or understood. I don't know that you can have a strategy. But you know what? I don't understand it at all. So that's all there is to it. The Golden Steer doesn't hold a candle to Ponderosa. Nothing beats ordering one ice cream sundae and passing the empty bowl to all your buddies in high school. Oh, Beaver. The Golden Steer is, how can I say this without sounding pretentious? It's not, I have seen people do YouTube video blogs on the Golden Steer, dinner for two, $500+ I can tell you, I've had some fantastic meals there. Thank God I could write them off from the business. All right. Corporate expense, corporate entertainment. All right. That's all I can say. Don says there's no strategy to slots, none. Poker machines, however, it's like I don't play any. I don't play any machines. Okay, I play a little bit of blackjack. All right, certainly. If you were to look at my blackjack skills, I'd be at the very low end. All right, and craps, and that's it. No strategy, just too much disposable income and no common sense. That's my secret to casino gambling. And you know, Joe Paul, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I used to look at it as this is my budget to lose. And if I hit it, I hit it. I'm done. If I made money, well, I made money and I'm done. So, you know, it's not a great strategy, that's for sure. It's, I don't know. I really don't. I don't consider myself a gambler. I really and truly don't. But I have had a lot of fun with it over the years. And I can think of things I've spent money on and had less fun. Um, but again, that's all part of life, isn't it? Isn't that part of you know, just like me saying that. For me to say I've played craps, I've had fun, and I've lost, and but I had fun. For another person, it might be, well, that's about the stupidest shit ever. Why would you gamble your money? And yeah, um, it's crazy. It really is. Golden Steer, you have to get the tableside Caesar and oysters Rockefeller. We get the tableside Caesar every time, every single time. All right. And um, I don't know why people get the bananas Foster or Foster flambe, whatever it is. They have better dessert than that. I'll be honest with you. I owned a couple slot machines. I know you can't win. There you go. Yeah, you can set that percentage, can't you, Z Man? Only thing I miss are the buffets at the casinos. Yeah, Arlene's favorite buffet was at Caesar's at the Bacchanal. She loved that buffet. I was not a big fan of it. I always thought for the things that I wanted, there was always like a line. Right? You know, it's 5 minutes to stand there before you could get it at the Bacchanal. But it was good food, great food. I thought it was a little overpriced, but that's in Vegas everything's overpriced. Don J, that's what retirement is all about. Doing what makes you happy. Wife and I go to the casino, $100, play to limit poker machines, and have a blast. Yeah, as long as you're having fun. And that applies to retirement. As long as you're having fun. My sense of retirement and your sense of retirement and his sense of retirement may all three be different, totally different things. Totally different. Just a FYI, I have a good friend that retired from Bally's. Job was doing the software. Casino will pick the percentage and then plug it into yeah, that's what I thought. Say 98%, that means for every dollar you put in, you'll get 92 cents back. Yeah, I think, the way it was explained to me was the machine is built to only pay out. You can set it. It's regulated by the Nevada Gaming Commission, and you can set it at like an 8%, 92% payout. You can't get whole lobsters at the Caesars buffet. Really? That's a shame. Can you still get Alaskan king crab legs? When last time we were there, you could get whole lobster, Alaskan king crab leg, and snow crab leg claws as well. Snow crab legs. Oops, missed something. Buffets are almost gone. Casinos used COVID to kill them. That's a shame. When I first started going to Vegas, I was so poor back in those days and had so much student debt and everything else. Um, I would shit You get $1.99 breakfast. And it was pretty good. But that was 40 years ago. You can't get whole lobsters at Caesars. Oh, said that. Ruth's Chris is my go-to near me. A golden steer I shall try. Take a look at it when you go to Vegas. I mean, don't confuse it with Golden Steer, the chain of steakhouses. All right, the Golden Steer in Vegas. All right, it is a iconic restaurant, and I think it blows Ruth's Chris away, Beaver. I really do. Most casinos run about 98% in Vegas, and the one-armed bandits are their biggest profits. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a big enough gambler. They get the Bananas Foster because it's a flame show and they're prepared. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's got to be, it's a visual thing. And it surprises me. It only surprises me because, excuse me, what surprises me is things that I consider to be average. All right, like tableside Bananas Foster. I don't consider that to be a big deal. But for some people who have never experienced it, it is. In fact, my next video, and I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it, but my next video is on a subject that I understand, but I can't experience. And I can't, you'll just have to it'd be just like that. The Indian casinos usually are set around 93%. Okay. Scoot be over millions of spins. They pay out an average be 98%. Dano, good morning, Dano. How you doing? Joe Paul, the Indian casinos in New Mexico are 80%. In Oklahoma, it's closer to 70. Wow. So that's better, right? All the crab legs, but now they split the lobsters. All the crab legs. Oh. So they're splitting the lobster. You're getting like a grilled half a tail type of situation. I stopped at Whiskey Pete's when I was trucking and had a 44-ounce big gulp cup of quarters, and it was gone in 20 minutes on slots. I had enough for a few hot dogs left. Learned my lesson on slots. There you go, Michael. There you go. And the hot dogs are a better bet than the slot machine. Yeah, so 1 million spans, $1 means a casino makes about 20,000 profit. I didn't know you guys knew this much about slot machines. There's a buffet at a place called the M that's pretty good, way off the strip. But yeah, Joe Paul, we've been to the M before, believe it or not. Or wait a minute, maybe it was the M Club I was a member of, which is like a player's card, not an actual. You know what? I take that back. We may not have been there. Casinos in Prim, yeah, I saw that in the news. The last one shuts down this week. Never been to Prim, so I don't know. Every 5 years or so, I put $100 in my pocket, walk out into the casino floor, the game for me to see how long it takes for me to reach zero or double it, whichever comes first. Zero always comes first. You know what, Mark? I got to tell you, that is the standard operating system for gambling. Really and truly. I'm not much for gambling, but I find Okada, City of Dreams, and Solar fun night out. Yeah, City of Dreams is pretty fun. M is in Henderson near I-15. Okay. No, I'm thinking of something else, Don. So there is a casino resort, the Green something or another. It's like it's on the way out of town. It's not on the strip or anything like that. Greenbrier, Green something. I can't remember. And they are part of the M Club. Is their players card? That's what I was thinking of. Um, Dano, they're giving away club cards for here for Simps. Yeah, yeah, and Dano is in charge of that. Just so all of you guys know. So if you want your Simp card, all right, Dano is the absolute guy to see. So you can see Dano. He will sign you up for your Simp card, and then you get rated. All right. So I guess for Simps, it's when you submit how much money you threw away on worthless contributions to other people's lives, your Simp rating goes up. Shit. Dano, that's a great idea. We should do that. Green Valley, that's what it was. Yes, yeah. I know it's near Green Valley Ranch, but didn't realize the M is considered Henderson. Green Valley Ranch, we used to go there because we had some friends that were big players there and VIPs, and we would go there, and I had an M card thing. But yeah, that's what it was. Vlogging life. How are you guys? Where are you at? Are you back in Arizona or are you back here? Thanks for coming in. Dano. Yeah, Dano is in charge of issuing the Simp cards. So we need to get, I wonder where we can get those printed up, Dano. That would be great. Michael Atos, I don't know if I trust a casino in the Philippines. Oh, we go to the casinos on Clark. I don't know, 2 to 4 times a year. Not often. Not often. Joe Bob, I think you're right. It's probably Las Vegas, but I live on Black Mountain, so it's close. I confuse it as Henderson. There you go. Arizona now, up in Black Canyon City, I think, over by my favorite pie restaurant. My daughter and I used to love to go up to that restaurant every couple of weeks. All right, I'm blanking on the name of it, but I know Vlogging Life knows it. All right, and we would go up there, and it's just home cooked regular meal, nothing special. But they had these homemade pies, and we would always get a pie to take home. And then a lot of times my daughter would like fly in for the weekend from California to spend the weekend with me when she was in college. And we'd go up there, have a meal, chit chat, laugh, whatever. And she'd get 2 pies, one to leave at the house and one to take back to California. Vlogging life, we always go back and forth as long as health. Yeah, and that's great. Fake news. What's fake news now? All right. Fake news that Dano is in charge of the Philippine Simp card. Shit, yes. I'm going to do a video on this. I am actually going to start the movement, Dano. I'm going to find out where I can order these plastic laminate cards for Philippine Simp. And we are going to let you be in charge of issuing those. Rock Spring Pie. Yeah, that was it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Isn't there a public golf course called the Black Mountain in Vegas? I would not know. Don J may. Don J, I have no idea. There's the Revere Golf Course in Anthem where we live. Okay. Yeah, I would not know. I am not a golfer. I really and truly am not. I have never been golfing, been to the driving range once. Had a bucket of balls, got through about 3/4 of the bucket. I probably didn't hit a ball more than 50 yards. Okay. Got home, laid down on the couch, woke up in a fetal position. Every muscle in my body was frozen. AI can make up excellent. There we go. So, Dano, we need to have different level of simps and different levels of rewards. It's funny to see the Koreans at the casino. It's banned for citizens even overseas. They only have one casino, Korea, for Korean sports stars, celebs. Yes, yes. There's only one casino in South Korea open to the public. All right. It is open to Korean, South Korean now. You have to come in on a foreign passport. Joe Paul, the problem with simp cards, everybody defines simp differently. No. We just going to make it look like they're terrible as shit. I mean, if everybody else can lie and tell these fabrications and invent bullshit in their YouTube videos, so can we. We can do that. We'll call it satire. The Philippine simp. I'm eligible. All right, I got to figure out where to get these cards. And then Dano will be having a once a month simpathon at Tequila Reef, where he hands out the awarded simp cards. Mike, do you have any photos of you with hair? And if you do, could you share them sometimes? Yeah, Philly, I have photos of me with a lot of hair as a young kid, with not much hair as an adult, and no hair as you currently see. And no, I'm not going to share them. I am not. Dano is all in. Oh, no. Yeah. You've already been elected, Dano. You've already been elected. Everybody that's in favor of Dano being in charge of the Philippine simp card, all right, say yes in the chat. Everybody that thinks that Dano would do a great job, all right, that he's trustworthy, that he'll do it, he'll follow the rules, say yes in the chat. Golf, I love golf. I just skipped the first 18 holes, start 19th hole, and the 50 handicap from there. There you go. There used to be, not far from the hospital, there used to be a bar called the 19th hole. And I didn't golf, but they had a great cheeseburger. Booker says he has an old milk carton with Mike. Yeah, and I'm still missing. Turn me in. I'm missing. Help them find me. Help them find me. That's all pretty funny, Scoot. That is funny. Okay, folks, it is going on the 2-hour mark. We've had a lot of fun this morning. I really appreciate all of you showing up. Really appreciate that, although I only got one thumbs down, I really appreciate all the thumbs up. Maybe we picked up a subscriber, who knows? But we wish everyone a happy, great day and a safe and healthy day. Thanks so much and have a great day.